second house is, I don't think it's as old. It just looks like, your normal everyday house that's set away from the road. And it also has a basement to it, but this basement is not like a fully finished, but I guess you would say a partially finished, where they made bedrooms and stuff down there, and painted it up real nice and made several rooms. And like, when I walked in, like, I couldn't feel anything upstairs, like, at all. Which is definitely different from the first house when you could just feel it all over. So whatever was there was definitely concentrated in the basement. And one of the things that she said was, like, her dogs would go in the yard, they would go anywhere upstairs, but one of them rather, would not, just absolutely refuse to go down in the basement, which I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah. Did Woke's presence feel different this time, Will?
Yes. It did feel different. And when we actually started the session down there, well, first of all, we went downstairs. A lot more stairs this time around, and a lot more space as well. And the stairs kind of like, it was for people who were shorter, because you basically had to kind of like bend backwards a little bit or something, or like kind of how to crunch over, so you didn't hit your head. And so we went through all the rooms, and I don't know, we felt as if there was something down there, but we didn't know what.
Yeah.
And so when we finally got into the session, and he spelled out his name, we were at least I was so surprised.
Yeah.
And then we kind of laughed about it a little bit. Like, really?
Oh my God. Not again. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, but that's, and like when we first started walking down there, like she said, you could feel something. And I didn't immediately like see anything. I was mostly just a feeling of like an ominous presence. And I kept getting confused because it felt like there was a child, but then it also felt like there was like a young woman as well. And so whenever we sat down and like started the session and whatnot, eventually we got to talk to this young lady, we'll say, and she kind of cleared things up a little bit as far as like why I kept getting confused. But it's like there was one room that was specifically a kid's room, and that was her room. Then there was like the blue room, which was, I think, supposed to be for a little boy or something like that. And I never really felt a little boy though, just really her and Woke actually were the only two that I felt.
So actually, we cleared that up during the session. There was another woman.
Oh, that's right, there was another woman.
There was a woman there, but she did not want to speak to us.
Yeah.
And she was very frightened by us.
I remember that.
And
no.
what?
Your face. No, she was just not really sure if she wanted to interact with us or not. I think we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Which you will see in there, but yeah, there was there's a young woman, which you will see her in the next couple videos. We have a little mini, actually it's not going to be mini, we talked to her for a while.
We did. She was really kind of neat to talk to, actually. Okay, so what were Christina's complaints is the next one?
The second house.
Yeah.
This is before she found out what it was Rogue, or after?
Before. Yeah.
She ended up messaging me again, and she said, this basement just feels wrong again. And immediately we jumped on it because we were excited, and we were definitely way more excited because we were growing as
Investigators,
as camera people, and we had the cameras, and we were so excited.
Yes.
And she said that she just couldn't go down there. And see, their washer and dryer are down there, so they have to go down there to wash their clothes. So she said they, they had nothing down there. And even now, like, they have nothing down there. It's literally just a useless basement, which is supposed to be like the lower level of the house, pretty much.
Yeah.
And she said that she felt like Destiny and John, which is John is Destiny's husband, didn't want to go down there either. They just felt like something was there, and which is really strange because we felt worse in the first house when we first walked in, but in the second one, like, this one just didn't feel as bad.
Well, but the basement did.
It did, but it wasn't as like intense of a feeling. Like, you could definitely feel something was there, but it just didn't feel the same.
It didn't feel the same, but to me it was just as intense.
You even said, though, when we were like getting set up, you said there's somebody here and they do not want us here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can feel it when like the spirits see setting up stuff. They are used to people coming in like with a warlike mentality. Like, great, there's people here. They're gonna basically, depending on what setting you're in, they're gonna like graffiti our walls or destroy our house or, come in and just ask us to do stupid crap, and that's usually why you get that malevolent feeling, because they're expecting you to like disrespect them majorly, and so they're already ready to like, spook you out. But with Woke, it's a different feeling. It was like, and like, in the second house, as we were setting up the Ouija board and setting up the cameras, I could feel whoever it was like in that doorway, or right outside that doorway, really, just watching and waiting, and like, I couldn't see who it was, but if I had to like imagine it, like they were probably standing there with their arms crossed, just getting ready, because that's really what I felt, and it just really, it felt very threatening to me, not quite as threatening as the first house, actually, you're right in that, but it was still pretty intense, in that like, he was really ready to go on for battle round 2.
Yeah, round 2, that's what I was sitting there thinking.
Yeah. So we spoke to Woke during the session. We found out that it was him, and I just kind of like was like, great. And I was already not in a good mood. Rather, I was in a really bad mood. Like, you will see, I was in an awful place that night. Like, before we even started, because there's this like what is it, 10 minutes that you squeeze down into like 7 seconds?
Yes. Yes, we had unexpected guests, and we weren't expecting them, obviously.
And it made me so mad because we had agreed they were not gonna interfere, and they did, and I lost my crap.
Yes. So I took like a 10-minute clip and made it down into 7 seconds, which you'll see that. You just gotta go. But yes, it was.
Yes, so I usually don't fly off the handle this easily. I promise. But anyway, there's a reason. So we get through talking with him, and I was gonna like go into the cleansing ceremony, which, we basically said goodbye so that we could focus on that. And I did my normal thing where I used the 4 elements, which, fire, water, air, and earth. And what I do is I just kind of pull energy from all these elements, earth from the ground, and air obviously from the air outside around the house. Fire, I usually either use sunlight if it's during the day, or I'll use like a candle. Either one works. and then water, just like the moisture from the air outside or from the clouds, I'll pull down from that. And I just basically make a bubble starting in the corner and spread it across the base and then just rise it up into the sky, so it basically makes like a dome. And so as I am going through the basement trying to get this started, like I made it to a certain point again, just like in the first house where I started hitting resistance, and like you can hear Woke in the background saying stop and like, you know, trying to distract us and different things. You can hear a lot in our necrophonic box actually. Yeah.
You'll hear it too in the video as well, because necrophonics actually goes pretty loud, especially in this one.
It does,
So.
actually, because it like echoes off the wall down there, and it just is perfect hearing, actually. So, but yeah, so I did hit a little bit of resistance, but I did get it up. And the difference, again, in the basement was like immediate, because he was pushed off the property, he wasn't there anymore. And when I do this, I make it so that only neutral or good spirits or beings can like come into the property. And so basically, once I had it up, you know, the atmosphere in the house, and especially the basement, just changed. And it was really kind of cool, because as you'll see, you know, hear Christina talk about, and what we've already mentioned, is that the one dog wouldn't even go down the stairs, and like as soon as we started like sitting down again, we just finished the cleansing session, like that dog came right down the stairs.
And when we had first got there, just as Christina had mentioned to me previously before we even got there,
Yeah.
the dog did not go down the stairs.
No, he like stood at the top and barked at us.
And actually, yes,
Yeah.
and we didn't film that,
No.
but the dog was barking at us from the top of the stairs, like, please come back up here, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't even think the other two came down either, they just stood at the top as well.
Yeah. I think the one did, the younger big one.
Oh, Echo.
Echo,
Echo,
yeah.
and he's oblivious.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. But no, he came down like once and then he went right back up though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't stay. So there's that. If I see, probably when, but if I see Woke again, he is gonna like, we're gonna have a go around. Because, specifically because during our session with Darla, we found out that he was not very nice to her. And so, can I say curse words?
If you want. This is
I'm
our
gonna
show.
whoop his motherfucking ass. Seriously though. Oh my god.
Are we children? Can I please say some curse words?
Now I'm blushing. This is us, guys.
But, no, seriously, he's an asswipe.
Oh my god.
I mean, literally, if I could, I would put my fucking, literally, I would use him as toilet paper, wipe my fucking ass after I took a giant ass shit.
Oh my god.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, when we see his ass again, he's gonna regret it. He's gonna regret it.
Yes. So stay tuned for round 3.
Could be literally tomorrow.
Oh my
Could be a
god.
couple months from now. Could be years from now.
I
We'll
hope
see.
not.
I moved here about a couple of months ago, back in March, maybe May or March. I don't know. A couple of months ago. I moved in about 2 months ago, and I like the property a lot. It's very, very cute. Checking everything out. Once again, there's a basement. It's a full unfinished basement. And it just felt kind of strange to be down in the basement. My dogs would not go down there either, and that's basically when I called you. I was like, okay, something's going on in this house and in this basement, because I'm getting the same feelings when the dogs won't go down, and I'm getting that same creepy feeling I did at my last home. like, how and why did that happen? You know, like, well, how did he find me? How did he know I was here? Why is he me? How did he follow me? You know, did he get in the car with me? I'm like, how did this happen? You know, was he,
Yeah.
was he in the U-Haul? Was he, you know, I don't know. Very immediately, I felt much better, and immediately, you know, like I said, I felt better. My dogs, at first, you know, those, my two older dogs, they, you know, they would go down, but he still wouldn't, unless I'm with him, but he'll follow me down. And so, being down there now, I do have times where I still feel like somebody's watching me type feeling, but then I'll turn around and look and I'm like, okay, everything's good. I'm not sure. I hope I never do. You know, hopefully, yeah, hopefully he's, you know, out of my life and, you know, stays away.
I want, cause I don't want him, like, I don't like, you know, having people get hurt, and I don't like, I just don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
You know, so if I can help people, I do, you know, and that's it. If I see him again, I'm gonna whoop him.